All right, guys, Acolyte, episode 3, spoiler review. This is your official spoiler warning because I'm just going to get into it and just fire away. Obviously, you've probably seen it online, the discourse about this episode. I have a lot to talk about. So, this is your official spoiler warning for episode 3 of The Acolyte. I'm not only going to spoil The Acolyte, but probably other things throughout Star Wars. So, this is your official spoiler warning. Okay, so holy shit, there's a lot to get to. Overall, I really didn't like this episode. As I've said before, I always review things in good faith. I don't have political or racial reasons or any other reasons for not liking this episode, other than I just cannot stand the way these episodes look and feel anymore. And let me just say, I'm seeing all over online, people being like, "Oh, that's not a valid criticism. You got to go deeper." What are you talking about? It's not a valid criticism. Sunday night, turn on House of the Dragon and tell me that show doesn't look 100 times better than this show, which has $180 million budget. And before I even get into the Star Wars reasons for the show, I am officially putting it on the table, and I've been thinking it for a while, that Disney is possibly laundering money, or someone is laundering money in this company. I'm not just talking out of my ass. When you think about the projects that are coming out and the quality, apparently 20 million per episode, and I know it might not be exactly divvied up, but just really, where's the money going? Like 180 million. Okay, so from there, like, who gets wired the money? Who gets sent the money? The vendors, right? The people making it, the makeup artist. Where's the money actually going? Who's tracking the money? Is there an audit of the money afterwards? Because I am totally confused how the show cost 180 million dollars. The costumes. When I say terrible, I don't mean you turn it on and you're like, oh my god, it looks terrible. I just mean it clearly looks different than the standard of what we've been getting from Star Wars for years now. It doesn't look good. I don't know how people turn this on and thinks it looks good. And even the costumes that do look good look totally new. They don't look worn. They don't look professional. I don't understand. But yeah, I'm 100% serious about this money laundering thing. I don't know. I don't know if Disney has to get money from point A to point B, or certain people are trying to get money out through like shady ways, and they're like, hey, let's just make this dog shit show and create this kind of discourse, and everyone will be thinking over here while this is taking place over here. But it just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up how the show is $180 million. I know there's 5 episodes we haven't gotten yet, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Getting into the Star Wars elements of the show, why I didn't like it. First of all, this just isn't what Star Wars needs right now. If Star Wars, had a ton of momentum and was pumping out really good material and was like, hey, we're going to take a swing on this Acolyte show and maybe like get a little bit zany with witches. Okay, fine. But why are you doing it? This show right now is just the worst timing for it. We needed a rock solid, very Star Wars like show. And I'm sorry to the people who really are just gaslighting the rest of us, telling us, oh, if you don't like the show, it's your problem. Oh, you're a grown man. Why are you caring about Star Wars? Meanwhile, they're defending the show to the end of the earth for clear political and identity reasons. Those are really the only reasons I can think of why you defend the show. The amount of people who I've just seen lying online saying they like the show is crazy. I never tell people what to like, but I just don't understand how you turn this episode of TV on and find it interesting. And let me, I guess, get in. Okay, so let me get into why a lot of people say, "Oh, the Night Sisters." The Night Sisters are way more interesting than this, and they were always way more interesting than this. Their connections to Darth Maul, to Dathomir, which is already a planet. I can't stand how these shows just keep making new planets. Why weren't these witches just on Endor or on Yavin or even on Hoth? They could be in ice. Put them somewhere cool that we've already been before. I don't know why they keep having to create new planets that we never fucking go back to. It's just the dumbest thing in the world. A lot of people are talking about the kid actors. Honestly, I'm not really going to criticize kid actors. But what I will say is I just don't understand why so many of these shows in Star Wars, it seems like they're just insistent. And I know the obvious answer, oh, they want a kid's audience. But when I was a kid watching Star Wars, I didn't need there to be kid characters to like it. In fact, even as a kid, the part that everyone hated was the young Anakin part. So I don't really understand that way of thinking at all. As a kid, I found grown Jedi to be way more interesting. So I don't know, really that way of thinking. I don't know. It seems like every show, obviously, man, it started in Mandalorian, but then it's carried over into other things, into other networks, like Last of Us. And I know that's based on a video game, but still, Last of Us, Lone Wolf and Cub storyline, and then we got it in Mando, and then even in the Obi-Wan show, we got young Luke and young Leia. So it just seems to be a common storyline, and I'm really not that big of a fan of it. A lot of people were complaining about, oh, the tower caught on fire, and it was made of stone. That kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. I mean, yeah, I guess you can say that doesn't make sense, but I'm not really worried about the X's and O's of things making sense like that. Oh, and the fire burns in space. I don't care about that. What I care about is this storyline is just whack. I don't know why they continue to just everything has to be a retcon or just mess with things that have been established lore for years. I don't understand why that's interesting. You could have done this episode without touching anything about immaculate births or this or that. It's just totally bizarre and it's just not interesting at all to me.